Welcome to the Jeremy and Andy Talk Movies podcast, where I'm Jeremy.
You are. And I am Andy.
And we don't have black bags, Andy. There's no secrets that we keep from each other.
No, we don't. We're just open books with each other.
Yep. But that is not the case for the movie that we're going to be talking about this week, which is Black Bag.
Yeah. Black
Bag is a sort of, what would you call it, spy espionage movie.
That's exactly how I would describe it, yeah.
From director Steven Soderbergh and writer David Kopp. I don't know exactly how you say his name. It's spelled like Coep, but I feel like it's just like Kopp.
Sure.
Who's both, if you're a movie person, you recognize both those names.
Oh, yeah.
They have been working for a long time in Hollywood, and we'll dive more into the films they've been involved in. Yep. But just starting with a basic summary of what Black Bag is, because I have a feeling this is one of those movies probably not a lot of people actually are aware of what Black Bag is.
Right.
So this is my summary I wrote in the world of espionage. George Woodhouse, played by Michael Fassbender, is the best at uncovering the truth. When a MacGuffin called Severus is stolen, the suspect list is limited to a select group of operatives, each of whom George knows, including his wife Catherine, played by Cate Blanchett. Yeah. This leads George to question his ultimate priority, his love for truth and justice, and his loyalty to his wife.
Your descriptions are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
You do a great job with
that. Thank you. Sometimes it's easy to encapsulate movies. Good movies usually you can encapsulate pretty well. Sometimes it's a struggle.
Right.
Mickey 17 was a struggle.
Right.
But as we tend to do, after I summarize, I throw it to you and I say, Andy, was Black Bag good?
Yeah. Really good. Well, I'm so happy with this streak of movies I've seen in the theater this year that are just we've talked about it, you know what? That's just a really good movie. Yeah. And I'm so happy to add this to the list.
Yeah, some common themes among those movies is smaller budget or medium-sized budget, small to medium-sized budget.
Right.
Original stories, just one-offs.
Yeah. I was so locked into this movie. I thought it was great.
Yeah. I really appreciated that it's a movie for adults.
It is.
Right? Not in any sort of inappropriate way.
No, it is an adult movie.
It's a movie that I used to describe movies like we grew up in the cable TV world where you'd get cable TV edits of movies.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you would say, the cable TV edit's just going to ruin that movie. And sometimes you say, it's not going to make any difference with that movie. Great examples like Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
Which is an R-rated movie, but whatever they have to cut out for
it doesn't
TV, it doesn't affect how good the movie is. This is one of those movies I'm like, I guess, as I think there's probably some language, maybe a act of violence or something.
Very little, though. Yeah.
You're going to be able to follow it perfectly. What I mean by a movie for adults is just that it's kind of a mature, sophisticated storyline.
That was a word I had in mind too. Yeah.
But it does a great balancing act because it is that, but it's also simple. So it's sophisticated, but it's simple. It's not an overly complex scenario. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's small group of characters, limited number of locations really going on.
Very much so. But yet at the same time, you need to pay attention and you need to listen to what everyone is saying.
Yes.
And this movie does one of my favorite things that a movie can do, where it treats you as the viewer like you are smart.
Yes.
It doesn't go, here's what we're doing, wink. It's not winking at you. It's not spelling things out for you. You have to listen to these people. And you have to watch these people. And in this movie, some people tell a lie right to the other person's face, but they don't then, the movie doesn't tip you off that the person is lying. You have to follow this movie and kind of these interweaving stories that everyone's telling. And I love when movies do that.
Yeah. So I wrote that even if the actual story mechanics are a bit cliche and silly, the actual the espionage, the stuff with that Severus, the MacGuffin that I said.
The MacGuffin, right.
Even though if you track that, it's kind of simple, like I said, kind of cliche, a little silly. That's not what's important.
Because what's important
are all these relationship dynamics.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that these actors are playing it very like they're doing serious work.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's what I love. It's almost got the feel of like a play,
Mm-hmm.
again, with the limited settings and stuff, and these characters just interacting, where you feel like these actors came in and said, we're all just going to do great work. We're going to play off each other.
Everyone in this movie is great.
Yeah. The star of this movie is going to be us.
Yeah.
And our characters, you know.
And our interactions and it's all great.
Yeah. And you know that I'm a dialogue guy.
Yeah.
And even though this one, it's not exactly, it's not going to be your really sizzling, poppy Sorkin type dialogue.
No,
but
it's not.
It is good dialogue that is the action of the scene.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know
there's no action in this movie really.
Right.
You know, like action, like we talk about a lot. Like very little actually happens in this movie, and I was engaged the entire time, which is a really impressive feat to pull off.
Yeah. We talked about before loving how movies will take their time with things. So the beginning of the movie is this dinner scene, kind of introducing the characters, and it goes on for a really long time to the point where I thought, is this going to be the whole movie? Is just this dinner?
Yeah.
And it isn't. And then there ends up being a lot more movie, but
There's a lot more,
it breathes. It lets it breathe so long.
It does.
That you could think that for a moment, like, oh, this might be the whole movie, because they just take their time so much with it.
They do.
And it was okay. Like, I was at the point where I was like, if it is, that's okay. I'm okay. I'm enjoying this dynamic.
Yeah.
But I just love the long, drawn out scenes.
This movie gets in
that lets it explore everything it needs to explore.
Exactly. Well said.
Yeah. I guess we can get into a spoiler warning just in case.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there are things to spoil.
There
so
are,
I guess I'll go ahead.
The movie is not about. It's not a whodunit, really.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's all about the dialogue and the interactions between these characters.
Yeah. So before we go into spoiler territory, we always say watch the movie first, but this obviously we're recommending. This is a movie people you should check out.
You should.
It's a good movie. It's not being seen enough.
Nope.
And more people should see it. I guess before we really get into the spoiler stuff, we can talk about that. So this movie had an estimated $50 million budget.
I was kind of surprised.
It's seems a little high. Maybe it's just the cast might be.
It's got to
be,
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to think of. I guess just movies are just expensive now. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Is a $50 million
I
movie
figured it'd
today
been more like $15-20 million. Yeah.
And then its gross so far is just 11.7 domestic and 16.1 worldwide.
Yeah.
So it's not really finding its audience, which is disappointing, but it just sort of proves what I always say is like adults, for the most part, just aren't going to theaters on their own.
It's really a bummer.
It's why our most successful movies are family targeted movies. People go with their kids.
Yeah.
They don't pay for a babysitter to go then pay for movie tickets to go see a movie.
It's too bad.
And it's a bit of a bummer that, we say we want more movies like this, movies for adults that treat its audience with respect, that are smart, that
I
are
would go watch a
sophisticated.
movie like this every single week for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but they're just not being made, and it's because the audience is just not showing
turning
up.
out for them. It's a real bummer.
It is a bummer. But it's getting great scores, especially from the critics.
I was really happy to see that.
Critics are giving it a 97%.
That's awesome.
Audience 71. I'm a little surprised by that, but I wonder if audiences didn't go in expecting more action.
Yeah.
Which is
like, look, people, this is not the Bourne Identity.
Right.
This is like the office people in the Bourne Identity.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like the behind the scenes people working for the agency of the Bourne Identity.
Right. That is a great way to describe it.
Yeah.
It's the nerds.
It is. Yeah.
And that's what Michael Fassbender is playing. His character is like the ultimate
he's so
nerd.
good in this movie.
He's so good. He's so dry.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he's like, so his whole backstory in the movie, and I love the little backstory detail, like, he can't stand when people lie. And it stems from like his dad lied and kind of broke apart their family.
Yep.
And we learned from his backstory that he caught his dad as an adult. He went back and caught his dad in a lie.
Yeah.
His dad was also like a spy guy and ruined his career.
Yeah.
But he's like, I just can't stand the lying. Mm-hmm. And because of that, he puts that skill to use. He is, as I said, the ultimate truth detector in this agency. When they need somebody to uncover the truth,
he's
put
the
him
go-to
on
guy.
it, and he's apparently got a reputation as being the best at the lie detector test. Like he straps you up and he knows the questions to ask and the responses he's looking for. He's the best at it. And it can be really challenging to play a part like that. A guy who's as like emotionless and stoic as him, and have you feel like his actual relationships make any sense. And I thought they actually did a good job pulling it off. Like him and Kate Blanchett, there was moments where I'm like, you know, why is she in love with him? You know what? But then it just does enough little things throughout. And, you know, you get the sense that like she kind of likes his directness and how like brutally honest he is, but also like he is fully committed to her. And he basically says like, I'll do anything for you. Like I'll break my own personal rules of what I think is right and justice for you. And
their dynamic is great in this movie.
So one of my best friends I've referenced on this podcast before, Nathaniel, Nate, shout out to Nate, saw this before I did, and he said it was a good movie, and I was like, oh, that makes me more inclined to see it. And he said it's almost more of a like marriage movie than it is a spy movie, and I was like, that is an interesting, like it's a good take, you know, like it's
I thought it was a great balance between the two things, the marriage and the spy stuff.
Like we said, it's just all about the relationships. So
it's just the dynamics and the intertwining of these characters. And, it's so well done.
It kind of leads to what is my favorite bit of trivia. It's become a recurring bit on here. My favorite bit of trivia is that David Kopp, if we'll go with that,
I'm going to go with that.
Said when he was writing the spy movie, he did interview a lot of people who actually worked in these fields. You know, trying to get like a feel for, you know, it's his research part. What are your lives like? What do you do? And he added, one woman told him that her job made it impossible for her to stay in a relationship. A line in the movie was inspired by his conversation with her. It was, when you can lie about everything, how do you tell the truth about anything? And then he continued to explain, think about it. If you want to have an affair, it couldn't be easier. You just say, I'll be gone for 3 days, and you can't ask me where I'm going because you don't have clearance. You can't trust people, and people can't trust you. And for George and Catherine, our main characters, the confidential information they can't share goes in what they call their black bag. But so the idea of he's talking to people and they're saying like, yeah, it's actually this hard for us to have relationships. And I love that he took that and goes, there's my movie. That's what this is really about. Amongst all this espionage stuff with the Severus, it's about these people who can't have functional relationships because they're professional liars and manipulators as a profession. Yeah.
And that was my favorite scene in the movie. When Fassbender and the girl, not his wife, but the younger girl, who's one of the main characters of the movie, have that conversation. And she was so good in that scene delivery. She says that, you know, like, how do you tell the truth when you can lie about everything? You know, the black bag, all that stuff. And I was like, awesome. That's what it's like, that is that character. And I don't remember the actress's name. That is that character basically explaining to the audience what this movie is about.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite scene in the movie.
And seeing that play out, and it plays out in very, again, it just plays out well.
It does.
So it could turn very easily into a soap opera-esque drama, you know, with silly things that come up, and it could, and of course there are the issues of like cheating and it getting revealed and things like that. But it's never done in, like I said, the soap opera type way.
No,
it's all of it's just. Even when it happens, it's not like these big dramatic scenes.
No, it's very matter of fact.
It's kind of like, oh, that's your thing that you're lying about. Well, you're also lying about this other thing, and it's just, it's all just little like jabs almost at each other. It's almost like it doesn't matter what it is. It's just the fact that, oh, that's your secret, and this is my secret.
And we're gonna, like you said, take these really passive aggressive jabs at each other, and it's so good.
Yeah. So the cast, let's talk a little more about the cast, because we said it's a very good cast. Michael Fassbender, we said, is awesome in it.
Awesome. Is this his first movie since The Killer? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the timeline. Was Next Goal Wins between the two movies?
Maybe.
Was a very
you might be right. Because I was just thinking,
movie.
like, man, that's a great 1-2 punch. I mean, either way, it's in a pretty compressed amount of time. So
Fassbender has one of the most fascinating careers of any actor I could look at, because I've never known someone who had so many like great hits and so many terrible movies. Like, and he just seems to alternate between them.
He does, but it's a nice run with like The Killer and now this.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy I get excited about every time I see he's in a movie, and that's why I think it's such a disappointment when he's in something bad. You know, when he's in like Assassin's Creed, and you're like,
dude, what are you doing? You're so much better.
When they get Fassbender, you're like, okay, maybe this movie's got some credibility. It's got a guy like Fassbender, and then you watch it and go, no, it's just another terrible,
it's bad,
video game movie. How did they get Fassbender?
I know, right?
So He's really up and down, but several movies that I love him in. Of course, Inglourious Bastards, which
Yeah.
was
Oh, he's
one
so
of his
good.
breakthrough
Yeah.
roles. The Steve Jobs movie, he's
Yep.
amazing in.
Yep.
The Killer, we talked
Killer.
about. He just,
Now add this to the list.
yeah, add this to the list. Kate Blanchett is always
It's
really good.
almost
She's-
easy to take her for granted because she's just always good.
Yeah. And she is one of those ones that, like, a lot of her movies, even if she's good, they're not for me necessarily.
Sure.
But she's been in a lot of things that are really good. Of course, a lot of probably people who might be listening to our podcast would know her from The Lord of the Rings, where she has a small role as one of the lead elves.
Right.
But I think maybe the most impressive performance I've ever seen her give was just a couple years ago in the movie Tar,
Yeah.
which was she played a conductor, and
Yeah.
it's a showy, should have been an award-winning role. She lost that Oscar to, I'm trying to remember, she didn't win it. She was kind of the front runner and expected to
Yeah.
win, and then somebody else won it. And
Stupid Oscars.
yeah,
Thor Ragnarok.
she's in Thor Ragnarok,
she's
just
the-
being incredible.
She is. It's like just having a blast and just she never drags a movie down. I mean,
Correct.
she is always elevating whatever she's in.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I thought she was really good in this. I didn't know, and I'm like you. I'm not like, man, Kate Blanchett, that's my guy or my gal, but it's like, I like her and I appreciate what she does, but I didn't know she could pull off like this. She's kind of cool in this movie and stuff. I was like, oh, this is like a nice twist for Kate Blanchett, and she's great in this, I thought.
yeah, she's really great at, sort of just blending into whatever
it's not
she's
a
needed to
flashy
do.
part. She doesn't get the big like speech or anything, but she just pulls off like that cool, confident, like, I know I'm really good as a spy.
Yeah,
And I am really good as a spy, and she does a great job.
she's like a female George Clooney.
Right. Right? Kind of. Yeah.
So then we have that cast of supporting characters. I guess
Yeah.
we can throw out Pierce Brosnan plays like the head of the
And
organization.
He's
and,
great.
Uh,
Like, you need someone that's like, hey, I need you to look good in a suit and with gray hair.
Yeah,
And
and-
Pierce Brosnan's just like, no problem.
yeah,
Consider it done.
we need you to be the head of a British spy agency. Do you think you could pull off something like
Yeah,
that,
is
Pierce
that in
Brosnan?
your wheelhouse? Yeah. He probably just had that suit on when he showed up to set that day, and they were like,
Exactly.
cool. You don't even have to do wardrobe.
But then the cast of other suspects that we're talking about having at that dinner
Man,
party.
they did great.
One of them who plays a character named Freddie, who's sort of the loudmouth of the group. He's played by a guy named Tom Burke. I was looking at him going, he looks familiar, but I can't place him.
Right.
And then when I saw what I knew him from, I was like, I would have never guessed it in a million years.
What
He
was
was
it?
in Furiosa. He plays
Oh,
the driver that trains Furiosa.
That's right.
Had no beard in that one. He's got a
That's
beard in this one. And I'm
crazy.
just like, I would have never.
Dude, add that guy to my list now. Like, Furiosa in this movie, awesome. And so different. And he is so good in this movie, is just being like the obnoxious jerk, basically, but yet he's still kind of likable. And
Yeah. The obnoxious jerk that you like to watch be an obnoxious jerk.
He just really leans into it. He's great.
His girlfriend and the younger girl you were referencing, who plays a character named Clarissa, is played by Marissa Abella, and the only thing I knew her from was she was in the Amy Winehouse biopic last year that was just completely destroyed by.
Oh, it got massacred. Yeah.
I actually did watch it as a curiosity.
Did you?
When
I've
it
never
came on
seen it.
streaming, I was like, I've got to see what this movie is that everyone's just killing for being terrible.
Yeah.
And honestly, it wasn't so much a terrible movie as just sort of boring.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like I've actually seen worse biopics.
Sure.
But she was okay in it.
Mm-hmm.
That was sort of, and then the singer in this is kind of like, I'm glad to see her get something to.
I thought she was
to
so
bounce,
good in this
to
movie.
bounce back from.
I
that
thought she was
movie.
really good.
Yeah, she was maybe the person who got to sort of have the most fun in the movie, as
She
everybody
was
else is being very serious.
Really good. She gets to be a little out there. She's like, I mean, we've already talked about spoilers. She has that great scene where she just stabs her like Freddy in the hand.
Yes.
Just like awesome, and his reaction is amazing. That was awesome.
And then another one of my favorite moments in the movie is, first off, she's the one who introduces that Fassbender's character is famous for his detector test. She's like, "Oh, when are you going to put me in the chair?" Like she's fascinated. She wants to try it. And then when she's actually in the chair,
Oh my gosh!
and we get the great moment where he can tell she's lying, but beating the test.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Are you are you clenching your butthole?
That was unbelievable.
Or whatever
And
he calls
but
it.
he plays it so straight,
Yeah.
and so does she. Like,
And she's just like, yeah. And he's
she,
like, could you please unclench?
yeah, that was unreal. And then I love at the end when it's like, he's like, yeah, you did fine, and she's like, yeah, I'm not lying about any. Like, she's just so like straightforward in that part, and she's like, yeah, I'm not lying about anything.
Yeah, and it leads to the end when they finally sit all the characters down, and he's revealing each person's like part in it, and he's like, you're actually innocent. I just want to tell you, you're the best I've ever had actually sitting in that chair.
That was awesome.
And she's kind of like, oh, cool, awesome.
Cool. That's so great. So great.
Yeah. I am not going to pronounce the guy's name correctly, who plays the guy who actually turns out to be sort of the main villain.
Yeah.
He plays James in the movie, and I'm just not even going to try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you can't do it, I can't do it.
He's a good actor.
He is a good actor. He's got a good like just look and presence up on the screen.
He's another one that like put him in a nice suit, let it,
and
his
he just
accent,
looks great. Yeah.
And he's handsome, and you're just like, yep, this dude's very suave. But he was in Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Obviously,
kind of does the same thing. He shows up and he's kind of like a powerful wizard, and everybody's like, oh, this guy's cool and looks great, and drawn to him. So yeah. Naomi Harris plays the psychiatrist of The Office.
Yeah.
Who is his romantic interest, but then we turned out also was having an affair with Freddie.
There's a lot going on.
She has all the information because people have accidentally confided things in her, and
yeah. Also great. Like everyone just nails their part.
Yeah. And we pretty much, outside of bit players here or there, that's like the.
You're right. This is very much like a play.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to go back real quickly to the last two characters you talked about who are kind of in the relationship. When they break up in her office. She's having like a session with him. They are both so good at their just passive aggressive insults that they're throwing at each other. I was like, kudos to those two for playing that scene. They did such a good job.
Yeah. I mean,
he's like, I have some stuff at your apartment still. And she's like, oh, I've already got it waiting at the desk for you.
It's in a bag.
It's in a bag.
Yeah. And he's like, best breakup ever.
Yeah, and he just like such a jerk just strolls out of that office. Like that stuff was so good.
Yeah, it is so good. So I want to go back and talk a little bit about our filmmakers, the people behind the scenes of this one. Talk about Soderbergh.
We've never really talked about Soderbergh much on here. You're talking about a weird IMDb.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm getting redundant when I say people have like interesting IMDb's. But Soderbergh might be the most interesting of any director because
I've been following Soderbergh for a long time. I know his stuff pretty well.
He is the like epitome of a like. He doesn't literally go this sequenced with it, but a like one for them, one for me type director.
Gosh, to say the least.
Because you can go through and I mean, he has got a list of movies that are big movies that people all will be familiar with.
Yeah.
I mean, he did the Oceans movies. He did Magic Mike movies. He did Aaron Brockovich and Traffic in the same year. He was 2 of the 5 nominees for Best Director in that year, and he won for Traffic, which I think was deserved. And talk about like he was on a streak at that time. So he did Out of Sight in '98, which I know
one of my favorite
love.
movies.
Yes,
underrated.
Yeah.
Now, so underrated in the moment, but now I do think like people look back on it like that movie is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's kind of I guess you call it a cult hit because it probably isn't widely known.
Yeah,
but the people who know it love it.
Love it, and it's the movie that people are like, yes, George Clooney is a movie star.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he does that in '98. And he does some smaller stuff in between, but then he does Aaron Brockovich, Traffic, Ocean's 11, like kind of all in a row. And this dude's one of like our biggest working directors at that point.
So I almost think I wanted to talk about this. That's an underrated run, I think. I don't think it gets talked about enough. Aaron Brockovich and Traffic in the same year, they both make well over $100 million. Julia Roberts wins an Oscar, and Soderbergh wins director. Benicio del Toro also wins an Oscar for Traffic.
Yeah.
And then he does Ocean's 11, which grosses like $400 million worldwide. You'd have to look pretty hard to find a better 3-movie run than that from a director.
Yeah.
And I just almost feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. That's incredible.
And a guy who you can't pin down like what is Soderbergh's style because he does something different. Even those 3 movies you just mentioned are such distinctly different movies. Mm-hmm. And then... Yeah, so he's on this heat of a run, and it's not that he does bad movies at that point, but he goes, you could tell he was like, And now I want to
want
return to
do-
my more artistic roots. And he does a whole bunch of movies, most of which I haven't even seen.
And then he goes like almost artistic to the extreme. Like he does this movie called Bubble, where it's like this like small, and when I say small, I mean as small as you can possibly get. He doesn't even get real actors to be in it. And it's this movie about these three characters who work in a doll factory. It's a really good movie. I've seen it numerous times. And it is like the most art house of the art house movies. And this is what he's doing after he does like he does Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
It's really an unbelievable career. And I guarantee you could name some movies he's done in the last 10 years and people would have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, for sure.
But like I was looking at his IMDb before I came over. He did a movie in, I don't know, 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there called like The Laundromat that I guarantee you no one has ever heard of. And Meryl Streep's in it. It's just he has one of the weirdest careers.
Yeah.
But then like you said, all of a sudden it's like Magic Mike.
Yeah.
Contagion. He did that movie with Matt Damon about like the scandal in Decatur, Illinois. The Informant.
The Informant, which is this weird like comedy where everything's silly but it's kind of played straight.
It's
and
so strange.
So strange.
Yeah.
He did Logan Lucky, which is like the redneck version of Ocean's 11, but I actually love that movie.
I know.
I adore it.
This dude has just got a weird career, but I love a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a movie called No Sudden Move in 2021, which was a pretty good movie. I think it was like one of those straight to streaming because of
COVID.
Yeah. Or something.
He did the Liberace movie
Under the
went like straight to
Candelabra.
HBO, Under the Candelabra. Michael Douglas and Matt Damon. This was such a weird movie. Like, I don't even know how to begin to describe this dude's career or, like you said, his style.
Yeah.
Because his movies are so radically different from each other.
For example, a movie that I actually didn't get around to seeing, I can't remember if you said you did or not, came out earlier this year, is Presence.
I wanted to so
where
bad,
he did
and I
the
didn't.
Possessed house from the perspective
Of the ghost.
And who would have guessed you'd go from a movie like that to a movie like Black Bag, where it's like espionage, adult drama,
wild,
relationships.
Man.
Dude,
like he just doesn't he doesn't play by the rules of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like he got enough power through like Traffic and Aaron Brockovich and Oceans and stuff that he can literally do whatever he wants. And a lot of what he wants to do is just really weird, small art house movies.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's, if I had to guess, it's why every once in a while he pops up with these big
He's got to get
movies.
some money.
So he's like, I just need to remind Hollywood why they invest in me.
Yeah.
Because when I want to, I can crank out the hit.
I don't know this, but he just seems like someone who just does not care whether his movies do well or not. Because he is not making, you make something like some of these movies he's made, they are not for box office.
Right.
I mean, he's making them because he wants to make them.
I don't know which of his movies it is, but I know he did one that he shot like entirely on
iPhones.
like just to see if he could do it.
And I think he was like one of the first directors to do that. I think it is one of the I don't even know what the right word. I don't know if strange is the right word or not, but it is a wild career.
It's you could definitely call it probably the most diverse directing career.
Yeah. Yep. And he also too, like, just a little bit of movie nerd history. I mean, he really kind of helped usher in the age of independent movies with Sex, Lies, and Videotape in I think it was 89. And that is, a lot of people talk about that as being like, that's what brought independent movies to the forefront. And then shortly after that, you get like Reservoir Dogs and stuff like this. But Soderbergh was, really leading the pack with that stuff. So super important guy in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. David Kopp, as we talked about, a writer that
Dude
a lot of people know.
Some good movies.
So probably his most popular movies are movies that he's adapted from other source material. So he's a screenplay credit, not necessarily original writer, but those include Jurassic Park, the original Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, Spider-Man, the 2002 Spider-Man, Secret Window, War of the Worlds. They haven't all been hits. He did write Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and the Tom Cruise Mummy.
That's unfortunate.
So, but he's also
he's got a good batting average.
He's also written some good originals like Panic Room in 2002. He wrote that, and I love Panic Room.
Me too.
He also, just referencing it again, wrote Presence, the Soderbergh. So interesting that Kopp and
now
Soderbergh
I'm going to seek
combined.
out Presence. Like I'm going to watch it hopefully this week.
For sure.
I'm really mad at myself. I missed that in the theater.
Yeah. So again, a guy that, if you're someone familiar with movies, you see that name David Copper, and you're like, I've seen that on a lot of good things before.
Yeah.
Like it just sort of breeds confidence in a movie.
Yep.
And you're like, no wonder this was a good movie. This
He does a good job. You know, like some of these movies you listed, he can write these blockbusters, but you know, like I don't know if smart's the right word, but like you know, Spider-Man, Jurassic Park, like blockbusters that are like upper echelon blockbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, yeah, you think of that first Mission Impossible. That was a little headier movie than
what we're getting now.
Yeah, than what people think of the franchise now. And even in the first Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot more
a really well written movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's
good.
He's a good talented guy, and I like the pairing of him and Soderbergh.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we go, we have to answer the question that is most important on our podcast, and that's, where would Uncle Chip have fit in well in Black Bag?
I have thought a lot about this, and I think what I would like to see is Uncle Chip in the Pierce Brosnan role, just like being the head of this, and everything is just going terribly because Uncle Chip is just making all the wrong decisions, and I think it'd be so like the dynamic of like these cool, confident, you know, almost like muted like characters, and then the balance of like Uncle Chip being in control of them all, and he's just a loud, obnoxious idiot. So I'm gonna zag a little bit. I want Uncle Chip in the Pierce Brosnan role.
I think that's the right answer. I love the case you made.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'll say is it's not even a role. I just want to see Uncle Chip in the chair with Michael Fassbender asking the questions, and just the weird things he might say that pop up as true. And he's like, that can't be true. And he asks him like, Are you tightening your sphincter? And Uncle Chip would be like, oh, never.
Or I also thought
loosey-goosey, baby.
Right. I also thought it'd be really funny, like when there's a couple different scenes when Fassbender's out on this lake fishing, and Uncle Chip is just also on the lake fishing, and like just him and Fassbender interact, like Fassbender being, you know, Mr. Serious and stuff, and just Uncle Chip just. I thought that'd be incredible.
Just becomes a thing where they keep accidentally getting their like lines tangled.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sorry. No,
and
again.
Fassbender just couldn't be more annoyed with this guy, and Uncle Chip's just oblivious. So, yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
It would be great. But man, I know a lot of people won't do it, but go see this movie
for sure.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate what you said. Oops. I love that this is a movie made for adults.
Yes.
We just don't get enough of these.
Yeah. And there's plenty of other good original movies still in theaters. You can still go see Novocaine.
It's been a great year for stuff like this.
Yeah. There's.
Oh, I think we should shout out to David Holmes, who did the music for this movie.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like it'd be really hard to pick music that matches the tone of this movie.
Yeah.
And somehow he's done. I think he almost always does Soderbergh stuff and like Ocean's 11. He's really good at like coming up with like in Oceans, it's like I just need some cool music, and he does a good job. I thought he did a really good job in this.
Yeah, it's a good call. Good shout out. All right, well, that is going to be the end of this episode, but we're going to have another episode coming.
We knew this wouldn't be
soon.
like a real lengthy episode, so just go see this movie. It's really good. It's really well done.
That's right, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.